Welcome to the Inner Arena. I'm Coach Mo, your swag coach. And around here, we don't sugarcoat burnout, doubt, or that punk ass inner critic who's trying to hold you back. This is where high achievers come to reset, rebuild, and reclaim their swag, self awareness, Y power, aligned action, and grit. So let's lace it up. It's time to train your leadership like it's game day, because it is.
Okay, today I'm going to talk about that inner critic versus intuition. Rewind that. That punk ass inner critic versus intuition. Do you know the difference? And I'm here to put some awareness on this. Actually, I talked about this in my latest podcast episode on the Let's Think About It podcast. I think it was episode 67. And we talked about the difference between the inner critic and intuition. And I'm here to break it down again, one-on-one style. And I think it's really important to understand this because this all ties back to my SWAG framework: self-awareness, Y power, aligned action, and grit. Here's the thing with the inner critic, that punk ass inner critic. It's judgment based, all judgment based. When the inner critic lives in the past, right? What I mean by that is through our experiences that we've had, there's certain memories that we carry in those experiences. And the inner critic, it poses, it imitates like it has your back and it's there to protect you, which is true, right? And we need that mechanism to protect us. But it's driven through past experiences. So your memory, it creates this image. And this image is from the past because you already went through it, right? So you remember it, you have a visual of it. And the inner critic naturally tries to protect you from the worst happening again. And it generates certain logical thinking to be very analytical in certain situations, right? And it just poses in so many forms as this protector, this voice of reason, but at the end of the day, it's keeping you small all day, every day. And think of it like this: when you feel worry, and this is how all of this like really starts to tie back to our emotional state, those draining type emotional feelings that we carry, whether it's frustration, whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, whether it's worry, whether it's doubt. The inner critic is typically present because it has an image in its mind. In your mind, it creates this image through an experience of what you had. And so that's what, and then it sounds like your voice of reasoning and logic in order to sway you to stay small in that moment. Whereas intuition operates on the opposite scale, right? It's this feeling, this spirit that you naturally carry that gives you this vibration that possibilities exist in this moment. But here's the thing: you can't see it because that image hasn't necessarily been formed yet, but you have this feeling that it's the right decision to make. But you don't see it. It's because the intuition typically works through the unseen. It's the unseen, it's that spirit, it's that faith, right? And you have to trust that. But how can you trust that when that punk ass inner critic is so loud in your head, right? And that becomes the difference. That's the inner critic versus intuition. And the intuition is just calm approach of just knowing through wisdom, right? Through the unseen feelings that the right thing is going to happen. And For most of us, it's hard to trust that because you can't see the outcome before it happens. And with the inner critic, you've seen the outcome in the past. So it's easier to remember that. And when you tie that voice of reasoning with that, it becomes so believable. That's why it's a punk ass inner critic. That's why you always hear me say that, because we're easily influenced by that old picture, the picture that happened yesterday, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, a year ago. It doesn't matter. And that's what the inner critic lives on and feeds off of. And you tie your voice to it, it makes it feel very believable that I need to double check or second guess myself. And it just naturally makes you play small. The intuition is trying to make you play big. It's trying to help you like navigate through faith and get you to that outcome that you're seeking. How do you develop the self-awareness? And this is where the swag comes in. How do you develop swag, the self-awareness piece of it? I believe it starts with simple things. Gratitude. Start there. That's the simplest thing that you can do, right? Because gratitude thoughts and gratitude thoughts are very easy to do. And let me break it down for you like this. Let's say hypothetically, every time you go to the restroom, and I tell this to my clients all the time, every time you go to the restroom, have a gratitude thought. And how long does it take to have a gratitude thought? Maybe a second. Let's just say that. Let's say you go to the bathroom 5 times a day. Okay. Give or take 5, 10 times, whatever. Let's just say 5 times. Okay. Each time you go to the restroom, 1 second of a gratitude thought. Okay. So that's 5 gratitude thoughts, 5 seconds in one day. And let's just play it safe. We'll do this 5 times a week. So 5 seconds, one day, a gratitude thought. Times 5 days, that's 25 seconds of gratitude thoughts, right? Over a course of a week, right? 25 seconds in a 5 day span of time, I'm asking you to have gratitude thoughts. You do that consistently, try it for a month. That's very simple to do, right? That will start to change your world, right? Because now with the inner critic, it's so easy to remember the past and create these visions and these pictures of things that you didn't really like. And with the gratitude, you're starting to bring in more positivity to offset the negativity of the bad experiences that the inner critic is 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 really judging you on in those moments. So you start to offset that, and your awareness starts to really grow. And that's the self-awareness piece of the swag. And the aligned action is really simple. Remember to have the gratitude thought, right? Because what's going to happen is you probably do it maybe 2 days in a row or something like that, and then you'll start to forget. But then when you do remember that you forgot to have a gratitude thought the last time you went to the restroom, guess what you do? You have a gratitude thought. That's the self-awareness piece. And then that's the action is to have the gratitude thought. Okay. Why am I doing this? This is the why power to start to create more balance of bringing more positive affirmations into your world, into your being to offset when that gremlin, excuse me, or that inner critic, gremlin, same thing, when that inner critic starts to show up. Now you have an initial defense mechanism to help offset that. And that's the why power. You're doing this to grow your awareness, to be better alignment within yourself, to limit the inner critic from showing up and to rely more on your intuition. And then the G, the grit, right? The grit is having that ability not to quit on yourself and to trust yourself that you're going to continue to follow through on this process of creating this awareness of just having these gratitude thoughts. And all I'm asking, you don't have to do it, by the way, but this is a mental rep that I teach in the inner arena. This is a mental rep that I teach in the inner arena to train your mind to start thinking positively right? And going into the restroom, having a gratitude thought every time that you go to a restroom, that creates a habit. Those are reps. That's a rep. And that's what we train in the arena is reps. It's rep driven. It's rep driven for high achievers to generate a higher level of a mindset that's abundant and powerful. And that helps limit that punk ass inner critic. And so that's what we train on. And when you do that's swag. That's swag. And when you have swag, you feel good. And when swag is present, guess what? That punk ass inner critic is nowhere around. It's easy to do, but it's even easier not to do it. Not to do it. Right now, for whatever reason, the inner critic, I guarantee you, he's telling you, I'm stupid. Don't listen to this, what he's saying. We have a different method. Or let's just turn this off and move on to the next video. Whatever. That's what it does. It wants you to stay comfortable where you are and not to challenge your being. That's the difference between the inner critic and intuition. Inner critic is past, judgment driven. Intuition is faith, solution focused, and driven through inspiration. And that's what it is. And so it's always your choice in what you're going to follow, the inner critic, that punk ass inner critic, or your intuition. There it is. I'll catch you on the next round.
You just got to rep in the inner arena. Don't let that stop here. Leaders build muscle with consistent reps. So hit the subscribe or drop a comment and share it with someone that's grinding but running on fumes. And if you're ready to go from survival mode to beast mode, grab my free swag cheat sheet. It's got you, and it's in the link below. Remember, the best way is to get out of your own way. See you in the next round.